Welcome to Whispers in the Dark. I'm here to help you unwind and relax this evening. Before we begin, I'd love for you to take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Only if you truly enjoy the experience I create here. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you. It's always wonderful to see how this channel brings together a global community. Just so you know, there will only be a few ads within the first 15 minutes. And after that, the rest of the video will be completely ad-free. I hope you'll give this story a chance. I believe you won't find tales quite like these anywhere else. Now, dim the lights, put on your headphones, perhaps turn on a fan for a gentle background hum, and let's begin our evening together. The first story. They say there's nothing stronger than a mother's love. But what happens when that love isn't warm, when it isn't tender, when it hides something cold, calculated, and terrifying? This isn't just a story about motherhood. It's a story about obsession, about control, about a woman who convinced everyone she was perfect, while hiding a truth so disturbing it could never stay buried forever. To outsiders, she looked flawless. The neighbors would nod approvingly when they saw her. Family members whispered about how calm and patient she was. Teachers at her child's school admired her discipline and her perfect way of raising a daughter. Every detail of her life looked like the textbook definition of motherhood. The tidy home, the carefully chosen words, the steady smile that never cracked, not in public. But there was something about that smile. It wasn't soft, wasn't warm. It was rehearsed, practiced, worn like a mask. Behind that perfect image, another version of her existed, one nobody was meant to see. And once the doors closed at night, when no one else was watching, the cracks began to show. For most parents, love is messy. It's emotional, chaotic, unpredictable. But not for her. She stripped away the messiness, the chaos, the warmth. To her, being a mother wasn't about love, it was about precision. Every decision was measured like a scientist conducting an experiment. Every word was chosen like a lawyer crafting an argument. Every action was intentional, as if she were writing a script and her child was forced to play the role. She didn't nurture. She managed. She didn't comfort. She corrected. And what's most chilling is that she believed this was right. She thought her detachment made her strong. She told herself she wasn't cold. She was simply logical. But logic without love is dangerous. And for her, it was about to spiral into something much darker. There's always a moment when the mask starts to slip. For her, it came quietly. Some say it was trauma. Others suspect it was paranoia. Maybe it was fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of watching her child grow into someone she couldn't mold. Whatever it was, it twisted something inside her. Suddenly, every gesture of affection felt like weakness. Every act of freedom from her child felt like rebellion. And that's when she crossed the line. She stopped seeing her daughter as her own person and started seeing her as property. And once she did, every choice she made carried the weight of obsession. Because in her world, control was love. And once you believe that, nothing is off limits. On the surface, nothing looked unusual. She still smiled in public. She still played the part of the gentle mother. To everyone watching, she was a role model. But behind closed doors, things were different. Every detail of her daughter's life was planned out. What she wore, what she ate, how she spoke. Even the smallest choices, books, toys, friends, were dictated, monitored, corrected. She wrapped her obsession in the language of love. This is for your own good. I know what's best for you. I'm only doing this because I care. But love doesn't suffocate. Love doesn't erase. Love doesn't steal freedom. This wasn't love. It was control, masquerading as protection. And while the world praised her, whispers began to grow. People felt something they couldn't explain. A discomfort. A sense that something was wrong. It started with rumors. Small things. A neighbor noticing how quiet the child always was. A relative whispering that the girl never spoke unless her mother was in the room. Teachers sensing that something about her behavior wasn't natural, like she'd been programmed to act, not raised to live. But no one could prove anything. There were no outbursts, no visible signs of cruelty, nothing that could be shown as evidence. And yet, the feeling never went away. The more people observed, the more they realized this wasn't normal parenting. Something about it felt cold, inhuman, and still, she smiled. Still, she convinced everyone she was just perfect. But the darkest truths can only stay hidden for so long. Here's the part that chills you. In her mind, she wasn't cruel. She wasn't a villain. She was the hero of her own story. She told herself that emotions were weakness, that comfort spoiled children, that real love was sacrifice, her control, her way. She believed she was saving her daughter, even if it meant stripping her of everything that made her human. That's the most frightening part. She didn't see herself as wrong. She saw herself as necessary. And in the end, she wasn't raising a child. She was molding an object, shaping it, controlling it. Because once love becomes control, it stops being love at all. So what do you call that? Was she a mother protecting her daughter the only way she knew how? Or was she something else entirely? The truth is chilling. Because the scariest monsters don't come from horror stories. They don't hide in shadows or wear masks. Sometimes they smile. Sometimes they hold your hand. And sometimes they call it love. The second story. What if I told you there's a hotel room that doesn't just scare people, it erases them? Not their bodies, their memories. Piece by piece, night after night, until nothing is left of who they were. This isn't a campfire story. It's a tale whispered by staff in a Tucson hotel, a room that's never listed, never booked, and yet it never stays empty. And the story of the woman who stepped inside room 348 might be the most chilling of all. In every hotel, there are rooms people avoid. Maybe it's bad reviews, maybe it's mold, maybe it's just bad luck. But room 348 was different. Guests complained about sudden sickness, violent nightmares, and waking up drenched in sweat. Some swore the thermostat was broken. Others heard whispers through the vents when the room above was empty. It got so bad that the staff stopped renting it out altogether. They told guests it was under maintenance. But the truth was, no one on staff wanted to go near it. Not even for cleaning. The doors stayed locked, the curtains drawn, the hallway strangely colder right outside. But one woman didn't believe in all the talk. At least, not at first. Her name was Constance, a widow, quiet and reserved, who had taken the job after losing almost everything. For her, the hotel wasn't just work, it was a distraction from the grief. One afternoon, she noticed room 348's door wasn't shut all the way. It was slightly ajar, as if inviting her in. At first, she thought it was just another messy guest sneaking into a locked room. But when she pushed the door open, what she saw stopped her cold. The lights were off, but dozens of candles flickered in a perfect circle across the carpet. Dark stains, too dark, too spread out to be wine, covered the floor. And on the mirror, written with something she didn't want to think about, were strange looping symbols. Not words, not letters, something older. Her instinct was to leave immediately, but as she turned, she noticed something worse. The room didn't smell old, or damp, or rotten. It smelled clean, like someone had just scrubbed it moments before she walked in. And yet everything inside looked like it had been rotting there for years. Constance didn't tell anyone at first. She thought maybe her grief was playing tricks on her. Maybe the room was just messy. Maybe someone was pulling a prank. So the next morning, she brought her cart and supplies and scrubbed the entire room spotless. The stains vanished. The mirror gleamed. The air smelled like lemon polish. For a moment, she felt proud, as if she had tamed the beast everyone else was afraid of. But the next day, when she returned, her heart sank. The stains were back. The symbols had reappeared, darker this time, carved into the glass as if with a blade. And the candles? They weren't burned out like before. They were fresh, brand new. It wasn't just a mess. It was a cycle. When she asked the manager about it, he barely looked at her. "Don't go in there again," he said flatly, as if it wasn't even a question. "We've had problems with that room. Leave it be." But that warning only made her curiosity worse. Why would the hotel keep a room if it was truly that dangerous? And what happened to the staff who had cleaned it before her? At first, it was little things. Constance couldn't remember where she had parked her car. She forgot her neighbor's name. She misdialed her sister's number 3 times before giving up. Then it got worse. She started waking up in the middle of the night with her hands raw, as if she'd been scrubbing something for hours. She found cleaning rags in her laundry that she didn't remember using. And her memories of her late husband, the very reason she had taken this job, began to blur. She couldn't picture his face clearly anymore. She tried to recall their wedding day, but the memory was fractured, like broken glass. Every time she went near room 348, she felt a pull, like static crawling over her skin, urging her to open the door. She wasn't just cleaning a hotel room anymore. The room was cleaning her. Here's the part that chills you. In her mind, she wasn't cruel. She wasn't a villain. She was the hero of her own story. She told herself that emotions were weakness, that comfort spoiled children, that real love was sacrifice, her control, her way. She believed she was saving her daughter, even if it meant stripping her of everything that made her human. That's the most frightening part. She didn't see herself as wrong. She saw herself as necessary. And in the end, she wasn't raising a child. She was molding an object, shaping it, controlling it. Because once love becomes control, it stops being love at all. So what do you call that? Was she a mother protecting her daughter the only way she knew how? Or was she something else entirely? The truth is chilling. Because the scariest monsters don't come from horror stories. They don't hide in shadows or wear masks. Sometimes they smile. Sometimes they hold your hand. And sometimes they call it love. And that's the end of tonight's tales. Thank you for keeping me company. It makes the darkness a little less lonely. I hope you found that perfect mix of fear and fascination. I'll be back tomorrow with more stories and mysteries. Until then, sleep well and remember, they're only stories. Sweet dreams, my friend.